Welcome to Jimbo's Garage.
Alright, so I got the truck in here now, and it's time for the installation part of this deal. And I got some modifications that I've got to do to the truck before I get going. And one of them is kind of take apart part of the spare tire holder and get it out of the way. I've also got to do a little bit of cutting to the chassis and to make it fit. And I got to say that I wasn't real certain. I mean, I had an idea how I was going to do the install on this, but when I got to actually doing the install here, it wasn't quite like I thought it was going to be. Actually, it worked in my favor. It's going to be a little bit easier. So the one thing I had to do here is cut a little section out of the chassis itself to allow for it to slide inside. The idea is to keep this thing inside of the diamond plate right there and keep it so it's tucked underneath. You know, you guys might see a little bit of a better angle here, but from where I was, I really couldn't see what I was doing. I didn't have the right angle, so I'm just shooting from the hip right here when it comes to cutting this with a plasma cutter, and I couldn't quite see. I just was hoping that I was getting it. It took a couple times, but I eventually got that piece out of there. Alright, that's the one side, and this is the other side. I had to do a little bit of grinding here. It had a lot of road debris that collected over the years up underneath, some grime, and I wanted to get down to some clean metal, so I had a clean attachment when it came to welding the bracket on there. And that's what I'm fabricating right here. This will be the bracket that actually attaches to the chassis, which is going to hold the anvil stand itself. This is a piece of 3" by 1/2" flat bar stock, and then I've got some I believe this is 2 or 2.5" flat bar stock as well. Everything is heavy duty. That's just the way I like to make things. I just want to be sure that they're going to last and it's going to work. The bigger the better. Not necessarily always the right thing, but alright, so this is what I'm operating off of, the ProPulse 200 here. You can see I made the adjustment to mild steel 30,000ths. We're going to be doing some spray arc MIG, and I've cranked it full blast, 629 inches a minute, and that's the process I'm going to use to weld this bracket together. If you guys have never done any spray arc MIG, that's fun. It's a fun process, super hot, super fast, and runs in there really fluid-like. It hardly makes any noise at all. When you're welding, it just runs in there like liquid. It's just a nice process. I like to try all kinds of different processes, and this is probably one of my favorite right here. Alright, with the bracket all together, I'm trying to muscle it into position up here and trying to get it where it needs to be. And of course, like always, there's never enough room to work with, but just enough for me to get in there and do what I need to do. Once I knew everything was going to line up and everything was going to work and everything was nice and square, I went ahead and just finished doing the welding. Alright, so I got it in place and I'm happy with everything. Everything is nice and good. And I've got it tacked into position, and now it's time to cut out what I need to in the back of the diamond plate right here in order to allow this thing to swivel out and tuck in. I didn't want to take too much, but I wanted to take just what I needed to in order for this to be a nice, tight, clean fit. Once again, the handheld plasma cutter, 875 SC, make short order of cutting this right out. Now it looks like everything's nice and flat right here. Shouldn't be any problem. Pop this piece off, but this piece had a little bit of a bracket on the back side, some angle iron. I didn't see it, so I had to do a little bit to get around it to get that off. All right, so just going to get everything welded into position. Now everything is, I know it's going to work. It's nice and tight. You can see I'm using the 2400 MIG. This is what I use for my portable welder when I'm doing stuff just like this, or trailers, or anything I just need to, that I can't get on my welding table. I use this machine. I've got it on this cart, and I've got about 50 feet of cord, extension cord for it, and plenty of gun lead, so I've got plenty of room to use this. All right, everything is tacked in, welded in, and you can see that works real good, but I'm hitting just a part of the chassis right here. I need to go a little bit farther, so I just got to cut a little bit of a notch out of the corner of the chassis right here to allow that to swing open just a little bit farther. All right, there it is. I'm happy with that. All right, so this is just a bracket that I'm going to be putting across the chassis, and this is just going to be holding the locking assembly that's actually going to hold it into position in the closed position when it's tucked up underneath the bumper there. Yeah, I got a couple different mag drills. This one right here, the Champion Brute, is a small little guy, and I've been using this quite a bit lately. It's really handy for small things like this, vertically, horizontally, where places you can't get to. Pretty cool little tool added to the shop here. All right, so with that bracket all drilled out, this is part of the locking assembly. Again, I just put these things together. You just, as you're going along, just think about how it's supposed to work.
All right, so the reason why I'm bolting this plate on instead of welding it on is the only thing this thing is going to be holding is the pin that's going to lock the anvil stand from sliding in and out. I wanted a little bit of a flexibility in this in case there's a little bit of settling or something. So that's the reason why I'm just bolting this in place.
All right, so just getting back to this tab right here, you can see I've got some 2-inch square tube. I've got a little spacer in there to take up the space because I need this, because I've got 2.5-inch square tube it needs to get around. Plus I want a little bit of clearance as well. And that fits in there pretty good. A lot of work just into a little bracket right here. There's probably other ways of doing it, but this is what I came up with. You can see that slides in there pretty good. Just got the 45 to weld in.
Sometimes working by yourself gets difficult. You gotta rely on other means of hands sometimes. Right there. That's it. Move this over just a little bit. Yeah, right there. Beautiful. All right, be patient. One-man show. Trying to turn the camera on in the most awkward position. Trying to get the gloves on. Trying to get the torch up in there to get a tack on it so we can get this
jack stand, floor jack out of here. Oh, fucker. Let's try to get something over here. Okay. Now, this thing out of here. You get in a better position to get this welded.
All right, with all that out of the way, this is the last of it right here, and that is just getting everything finished out in terms of the welding for the locking assembly. And this is how that works. Held in with a pin, swings out, and one last little thing, and that is to make a couple brackets to actually hold the anvil in place. This is some 1" by 3/16 flat bar stock, and I just bent two of them on a 90-degree angle as close as I could. And then take them over to the anvil, out of all things, and do the finishing touches to make it a nice secure fit around the base of the anvil right there. The idea is to just kind of hold it into place nice and secure, and I'll do that with a couple of bolts, a couple of 1/4-20s there, and that should hold everything in nice and secure. Clean them up with a Burr King, round off the edges a little bit so they're not sharp. And then drill and bolt them in place. This one side right here, you can see I just made the fit over the top and got the bolts in there. And then the other side, I grabbed a piece of flat bar stock and a couple of C-clamps and pulled it down nice and tight. I wanted a real nice tight fit to be sure the anvil is secured in place. All right, so there it is. It's tucked up underneath there. It's just what the client was looking for. And this is the operation. You just pull the pin and then just slide it out. It just has enough clearance. It opens up easily all the way. And then the adjustable leg at the very bottom. You just pull it out, adjust it to the right height, and there it is. And this is actually some footage of the guy using it, and you can see how it works just the way he was hoping. You can see the base is slightly pitched. It's on a little bit of an angle right there. This was a great little project. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this little two-part series. It was a fun project to do, very challenging, but I love a challenge. All right, guys, stay tuned for the next video. It'll be coming up here next week or so, and it's going to be an interesting one as well. Don't forget to check out my website, JIMBO'Sgarage.com, torch lead holders, angle grinder holders, shirts, and hats. All right, guys, we'll see you next week.
See you next time on Jimbo's Garage.